Grand Rising, everyone. This is Ron. It is Sunday, February 1st, a little after 11 a.m., February 1st, 2026, and back on the air. Let's see if we have any questions. Any questions or anything that may jump out at you. The upstate has had some it's really pretty out there, but I know how dangerous snow and ice can be. But got a pretty good covering yesterday. At least in my area we did. So
Yeah, Columbia is covered up pretty well too. A
yeah,
nice blanket on the ground.
yeah, yeah. And the current temperature, I don't know how much of it will melt because it's still pretty chilly out there, actually. Like it's still in the 20s out there. I don't know. I've had two people to contact me out of Aiken. One was my sister, and another was a good friend of mine. But he's saying they're keeping up pretty much with these measles outbreaks in the upstate. And I think it's getting to be a pretty significant number. And of all things, the measles. And I remember when I was a kid, people having the measles, and I remember when I had the measles, it was not a threat of death, but it seems like now this thing is taking a different turn. And I don't know why the upstate, and I don't know why measles. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Or maybe it's not just the upstate, but that seems to be the part that's getting that it seems to be growing the fastest in.
And Ron, good morning. The measles, what we used to have when we were coming up, it's nothing like what we're seeing on these kids' skin. I mean, I've had them, and it was just like a few, bumps here and there. But these measles now, I've never seen nothing like this before in my life.
Um,
Yeah.
the the measles, right, they are endemic to South Carolina. Spartanburg is the leading county in the country for measles outbreak.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and Catherine, I think that one of the reasons it looks so different is because when we were coming up, we never saw measles on white kids. We saw measles on us, and they may have been presenting the same, but on white skin, the redness of them.
Hmm.
That may be what it is. Now, why is it this outbreak? Um, I have my thoughts about it, and my thoughts about it is based on conjecture and not on statistics and science itself. Uh,
I just
I,
I never thought of measles as being deadly. That's the part that got my attention, I guess.
it's it's the fever that's attached to it that's killing kids,
Okay.
and they're spiking fevers for long periods of time, and it happens quickly. And that's my understanding of the reason they are fatal. But even with that, we didn't have those experiences. And my conjecture, um, one is it is the vaccine makers, the pharmaceutical company is fighting back against the war against vaccines and creating an environment where they scare you half to death and you go have to take the vaccine like they did with COVID. And my other um, thoughts about it is there is pestilence in the land. And why South Carolina? Because everything that is anti Cabelon is starts in South Carolina, and I believe that there is no difference between the outbreak of measles and the outbreak of ICE and the people who ICE is directing its attention to, because that's their pestilence. Everyone who has been against everything that is a Cabelonian is beginning to see the price that it has to be paid for what they have done and is doing. I'm done.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Oh, Ron, I heard preacher yesterday saying that we haven't had this amount of snow in 10 years. What does the number 10 represent? And he said, watch what happens throughout this year. He said, because God was doing something. So what does the number 10 represent?
Can someone help us out there? Because I don't remember exactly. Pastor,
I
you
want to talk about that in a few moments
okay.
because it is connected to something that I was shown to last night.
Okay. Good, Kathy. We'll get to it in just a few minutes, okay?
Okay.
Does anyone else have a question before Pastor gets into his answer for Kathy? Question or comment?
I have a question.
Okay.
My question is, when God created man, and when he created man outside. He created man outside the garden. What was the reason him creating man outside of the garden instead of inside the garden? What's the difference in between that? Why he do that? Or that could be a question for another time.
I'm thinking, Charles, right offhand. My first thought was, what does the garden represent? So
Rev had told us, what the garden represent, but I don't forgot.
Our concept of the garden is very finite and totally antithetical to spirituality, because when we talk about a garden, we talk about a place where things are planted, where things grow, where things are cultivated. The spiritual aspects of a garden is not so much placing someone in one like you would a garden in the ground. When it talks about a garden, it's talking about spirituality. It's talking about now I'm totally away from what's written in the Bible and what we've been taught about this man being placed in the garden. It's talking about being placed in an environment where you are able to flourish based upon the essence of your creation and understanding who we are. And now that we see with a clarity the divinity in us, or the divinity that we are, when we talk about the placement in a garden, we're talking about being presented with the opportunity in a space for us to flourish as gods. And in order for us to be in a space for us to flourish as gods, it is necessary for us to meet resistance and and that resistance being the catalyst of our creative abilities and to show us the in-depth essence of who we are and our purpose for being placed in this environment of growth. So when we talk about this idea of a man being created and placed in a garden, we are talking about the essence of God's being brought into existence in physical bodies and placed in an environment called the earth consciousness, where we are able to flourish. And that flourishing is talking about us being placed in this physical environment and at the same time flourishing as spiritual beings. That did not happen. We flourished for a while as physical beings. When I say a while, I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of years, of course. And then we got to a point where we were baited into becoming more focused on physicality than we were on spirituality. And this became the challenge for us to flourish in this garden of growth. And when it talks about being cast out of the garden, it's not talking about the entity that created us throwing us out of the garden. It is talking about us having left the garden. And this is not talking about a beginning at all. This is speaking to our current nature, our current essence, and talking about being extricated from the garden. We're talking about forgetting who we are. We forgot who we were created to be, and that is mentioned by virtue of talking about some serpent that told us to eat from a tree. This is talking about the evilness that prevailed in the earth as a result of our being in this earth and populating it. And this entity called serpent is actually the evil attitudes, the evil thoughts, the barbaric nature of European Neanderthals. And we were not thrown out of the garden as much as we left, because we were inundated with a mindset that we were not familiar with. Even though we were God, we were not familiar with it. And this was a part of us familiarizing ourselves with it and becoming the gods that we were created to be, or becoming more aware of it by virtue of bringing righteousness in the place of unrighteousness. We had not done that. And every time that we made attempts to do that, and we were met with violent resistance, we would leave that space and retreat to our own space. And as a result, we allowed that mindset to grow stronger and stronger, to the extent that it became more and more forceful, more and more brutal. And during the brutal attacks, that was foreign to us as well. And we fell prey to it. And falling prey to it, we were forced to forget who we are. And that is something that I want to get into in depth in a short period of time. What Charles, the question you raised, Charles, is actually a segue into something that I really want to delve into a lot more today. So I hope that help you, Charles.
Yes, that helped me, Pastor. And plus, you told us the garden was the place of pleasure.
Yeah, that was a place of pleasure, and that was because I was teaching based upon the Hebraic understandings that were written in the Bible, and that is the reason I preempted what my response by saying that I am not speaking concerning of what we were shown or taught in the Bible. I'm talking about the spiritual essence of what the garden is, and that garden still exists to this day. And we are in the process of entering that garden, and that garden that we're in the process of entering. Now, when I say we, I'm talking about as a people, but there are those who have entered that garden. And the entrance to that garden is not a physical movement at all. It is a shift in mindset. And it is the place of consciousness in this earth where what is said, the flaming sword protects the garden, is talking about the understanding of, not the understanding, the spiritual interest of the garden is done by purification. Our thoughts must be purified in order for us to enter this space of growth in spirituality, and that's where we are now. This whole idea of the number 10 speaks to spirituality. Yud is the letter of the Hebrew letter for 10. It speaks to spirituality. And the reason it speaks to spirituality, Yud is a spiritual, a reminder of the unicity of God. Even though Elohim is one, yet many, it is still one. Because it is the God in this earth, no different than the one or the essence of what created all of us. So when we talk about spirituality in relationship to the snow and watching what happens this year, we are talking about experiencing a cleansing that has taken place in this earth. So we're talking about this a spiritual cleansing, a cleansing that could not be done by man, a cleansing that man would never allow to take place, a cleansing that has taken place because of the desire to take a journey that shows us who we were created to be and how to continue this state of becoming. And that state of becoming is not a state of becoming human. It is a state of becoming more aware of the divinity of our essence. It's also a state of becoming mindful, or having our mind filled with what is necessary in order to bring our creation in terms of humanity into a place of righteousness, as opposed to being submissive to its evilness and allowing it to subjugate us. Our subjugation was not a subjugation because of weakness. Our subjugation was a subjugation so that we would be able not only to see but to experience the barbaric nature of these thought processes that came into existence due to a Neanderthal gene. And now that we are in the midst of this in the midst of this this move, this journey of righteousness, we are seeing not only the results of this barbaric nature, but we are also experiencing what it looks like to move beyond this state of chaos, because this state of evilness, because evilness and chaos are actually the same thing. That what we have taken to be order is pure chaos, and what we have submitted to is a spell that we cast on ourselves every day of the week, and have been doing it for quite some time. And that casting of the spell was taught to us, and we embraced it. It was taught to us by those with by the Neanderthal mindset, and we learned that not because we were weak, as I said, but because we understand the nuances of this evilness, and we are more equipped now to bring into existence a order that is actually an environment of peace and kindness. And the way we cast the spell is because we accepted, embraced a language that is filled with chaos, that is filled with casting spells of disparity, that is filled with self enslavement by virtue of the words that we used or that were forced upon us in this language of enslavement. So I hope that you are seeing what I am saying, because I want to carry this understanding of these words of enslavement, these words of self-bondage a bit further in our understanding. And then I want to also engage in why we have not experienced the physical manifestation of what we are searching for, or what we are actually waiting for, I should say, maybe. Questions or comments? Does that resonate?
Grand Rising, it resonates. And I have a question, Pastor. You were saying that going back to the cleansing of what happened with the storms, the snow. I think I heard on the news that this storm covered, I think, 32 states, possibly 30 or 32 states. So when you look at the swath of the storm and the way it moved, were those, instead of all 50 states, it covered 30 states, or those the states that were where slavery was heavily represented? Is that why the cleansing took place that way instead of all states?
It did. The southern states, matter of fact, if you look at this country, what you actually see is a country that consists of third world states, states that we can call nations within a nation. 20 states in this country have a GDP less than that of South Africa, which means that the southern states are poor states. They are poor states that made the other states wealthy. And yes, this cleansing has to take place in the place where the children of Akebalon were abused, more so than in most places. Would you mute, Janice? Would you mute 111, please? Would you mute your phone? Thank you. The retribution by the universe is taking place, and during the course of the retribution, the cleansing, of course, in the deep south, but also in these quote unquote northern states, there are issues. These so-called blue states, they are reaping retribution as well for the game that they played with this liberal attitude that was a cover for subtle racism. And I can I get deeper into that if need be. So, Kathy, your observation is spot on when you spoke of these states that are experiencing this cleansing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Grand Rising, Pastor Grand Rising, everyone. I'd just like to maybe just speak a little bit on the question, what is the number 10? And you mentioned it, in reference to the spiritual aspects, but I just wanted to also add that, the number 10, represents divine order. And as I reflect on the snowstorm and you talked about the cleansing, last Sunday in Philadelphia, we had 9 inches of snow and we had 1 inch of sleet. And so when I think about where we are in terms of our spiritual enlightenment with regards to what we're experiencing, and if the number 10 represents divine order, and we look at that number 10, but we even break it down in terms of the root of number 10, what we get is 1, which represents masculine energy. We get 0, which represents feminine energy. But when we look at it in terms of the oneness of it, it gives us an opportunity to appreciate that the 0 is a womb. And the 1 represents the singularity with regards to its spiritual essence. And so I think that is not no coincidence, but it is a time of cleansing. And I think it's a time of divine order where we talk about the first shall be last and the last shall be first. So I see both essences of the oneness when I look at the word 10 in terms of what it's meaning. So I just wanted to share those thoughts as we were speaking about our conversation at this point. I'm done.
Thank you. Any other observations?
So the bluebird they've been seeing, that's what y'all were talking about. Yeah, the redbirds. That's what the redbird was meaning about this snow.
Redbirds represent a plethora of things, and I unless someone can do it briefly, I don't want to really get into a discussion of the symbolic nature of the redbirds. I think the basic thing, Charles, is a response to this Garden of Eden question, as well as the cleansing that Cathaniel, the number 10 rather, Cathaniel raised, and the cleansing that Catherine with a K raised. And I want to continue along that line, if I may. Are you good with that, Charles?
Yes, you can.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Thank you, sir.
So, the whole time we was, in the place of bliss, or however you call it, he had us there, what we were supposed to learn. I don't know what we're supposed to learn, but I understand what you were saying. And not only that, when we got away from that and started being taught the Caucasian way, and we pulled way away from what the understanding of what God would have us to understand, and we was taught the Caucasian way. And I thank God for, say what?
Go ahead.
So I thank God for using you to bring us together to be taught the spiritual things. Huh?
Clarity.
Be taught, learn the clarity of what he was been trying to show us all along. And every time we start getting there, he kills it. And what I mean by that, everyone that understood and had connection, they come to teach and tell us, the right thing. And every time the barbaric mind in the Caucasian, when they start seeing that, they start, killing away or removing it out of our way so we wouldn't know or understand the things of our Father trying to learn us.
Let me
So
Charles, let me clarify that before you take it any further, please, because it is not it's not our Father. Our Creator is feminine, and it is not something that has been taken away from us. It is something that was buried in our memory. And the ones who I was led to write an essay type thing about 5 o'clock to 5:30 this morning. And in writing it, some of the things that you mentioned are clarified in it. And one of the things that's clarified in it is that while we were being forced to embrace a mindset or language that was devoid of compassion and a language that was antithetical to free thought, especially by the children of the sun, that taught us how not to think. When I look at that, based upon what you were raising, I also saw or was shown how those who were our quote-unquote leaders were gullible to what the language was teaching them, especially in these so-called higher institutions of learning. And their gullibility was paramount in increasing the depths of our remembrance. It was covering us with layers and layers of a mindset that is antithetical to who we are. So this was not just done by Caucasians. This was also done by agents, some who realized they were agents of this mindset, and others who were not aware of it. They did it unconsciously, but nonetheless, it guided us to the same place of self-induced bondage without even giving any thought to it. And those who we deemed to be highly educated people who were leading us were actually highly indoctrinated people who led us away from ourself into a self that we could never truly, thoroughly embrace. It led us to a belief system or a system of bondage that forced us to make a choice, forget who we are or starve to death. And by that I mean you are going to acquiesce to what the system is presenting to you, or you are not going to have access to those things that's necessary for you to survive in this earth. And again, that was done by that mindset and by people who look like us who adopted that mindset. Excuse me. So in saying all of that, I think I need to speak to this concept or this idea of language before we talk about the reason manifestation has not been seen, and while we talk about that which will be manifested. If we look at the language that we speak, we have terms that we use, and the psalmist writes in the 23rd Psalm, it says that the Lord is my shepherd. I have no wants. When in essence, it really says I have no lack, because I'm being shepherded by something greater than me. And the reason I bring that up is because we talk about I want to feel better. I want to be successful. I want whatever. I want this manifestation. I want this chaos to end. But what is being heard by the energy, the nerves of your body, what's being heard by the vibration of the universe is the word want. And want itself indicates that you are saying that you have lack. I want to be free, meaning that I'm not free, as opposed to speaking in different terms. The language that we have been taught, words like I understand. I understand what's being said. And when we are talking about the negativity of things that's being said, what we're actually saying is that I am submissive to the words that have been spoken, and the words that are words that really strengthen us in our resolve to move forward. We have a problem when it comes to that. Those are usually the terms that we talk about. We don't understand. I'm not submitting to it. Yet we are submissive to other terms in this society that keeps us in a space of being beggars, and this is how the spells of bondage are cast by us ourselves. We don't understand that words are frequencies. Words are technology that create. We must see and embrace the reality that the words that we speak create our environment. We've talked about that. It creates our reality. And what we have been doing is creating and living in something that has presented itself as being reality when it really isn't. And that's what has kept us from what is real, from the essence of what reality is all about, or what reality should be about. Especially when we say, "I'm trying to make it," or "I'm trying to get this done." Trying means that you're making an attempt that has no success at all. You're attempting to do something that does not succeed. These are seemingly words that are benign, but they really aren't. When you talk about what you need, you're talking about scarcity. You're saying that you have scarcity in your life. And as long as you say, "I have scarcity in my life," you never get to the place where you have fulfillment in that area. So what I'm saying in essence is that we must become even more mindful of how we talk. And I made a lot of notes about this on last evening. We have to be more in tune with what words flow from our mouth, because we are actually communicating with a contaminated language. And if we are communicating with a contaminated language, then we have contaminated communications, and that in itself does not bring deliverance from the subtle bondage that we constantly keep ourselves in. So, first of all, are there any questions about this so far? Is this resonating?
It is. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Audrey. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying it does resonate. That's all.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm having trouble with my screen, and here I got a lot of background. I'm gonna come back. They're blowing. I'll come back.
Okay. So what we are doing is living in a reality that has been created, excuse me, from a language of bondage, and in creating that reality, we also are perpetuating that same reality with the same language, and we must be mindful also that this language was brought into existence by a Neanderthal mindset, and this is a language that's foreign to us. And if you remember, you will know that the first thing that was taken away from us was our spiritual nature. The second thing was our language. When we were forced to change our names to quote unquote Christian names, that was the beginning of depriving us of our language. And because our names meant something, and the deprivation of our language substituted by contaminated language contaminated all of our communications, and it also contaminated our vision, because this language that is that we use, that's self-induced bondage, also moved us from a space where we were able to see with our eye. And as a matter of truth, we were taught that the third eye does not even exist, even though those Neanderthals knew that this third eye is prevalent in the children of the sun, and it is the guiding force in the children of the sun. We were taught that about a God who looked like the slave owner, and we were taught that this God was going to deliver us, even though this God was no different than the slave owner. We were taught to worship the Caucasian. We were taught to worship Europeans. We were taught to fear Europeans. And I know that there are those of you who are hearing what I am saying either now or later on online, who saying, I've never feared Europeans, I never worshiped Europeans. If you've ever been to a Christian church and worship God, you were worshiping Europeans, because Europeans are the ones who brought this Christianity into existence, in all of the quote-unquote holy personage of this religion are Caucasians or Europeans, and that is indisputable. So once we got, we're exhausted from praying to a God that never answered. We started a journey where we are now in search of what God really is. And in our search, we found that God is really us. We also found something else, that the reason we were able to survive this barbaric environment that we were cast into is because even though we were searching for a God that didn't exist, it was our ancestors who helped us to survive. It was our ancestors who did not abandon us, even though we had abandoned them. Now we did not consciously, purposely abandon them. We abandoned them because we were convinced that this entity that was given to us or forced upon us, called God, was something that was going to deliver us. And when I talked about the leadership of those who matriculated through these institutions of higher learning, they were taught how not to think. They were taught how to regurgitate what the mindset of the European wanted us to regurgitate, because if they were thinking free thinkers, they would have processed the reality of what this Christianity is, and would have been able to see through it, and see that the very things that Christianity railed against are everything that relates to us. And by doing, but by us embracing that, we are the ones who became the slave masters of ourselves. We are the ones who became the patrollers for this mindset, to make sure that it stayed intact, and we policed it by virtue of making sure that we spoke quote unquote correct English, making sure that we looked down upon people who did not speak as we were taught to speak, were indoctrinated to speak. And now here we are in a place where we are beginning, where we are beginning to understand, excuse me, that there is more to this journey than just finding out who we are. The question becomes, once you find out who you are, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about your language? What are you going to do about this desire of manifestation? What are you going to do about it? Well, first of all, we have to recognize that understanding the etymology of words is extremely important, especially descriptive words. We also must be humble enough to be gently corrected by those around us when we continue to speak as we have been taught to speak. We have to be our brother's keeper, meaning that we have to be each other's helper, so that we can change the way we speak, so that our speech will no longer be the speech of self-enslavement or a perpetuation of it, but our speech would be a speech that frees us, because until we are free, we will not be able to free our humanity. Questions about that?
Absolutely. This is Angela Grand Rising, everybody. So when you talk about our speech, so when we say words like weekend, when we say words like I'm sorry, because word I'm sorry, when I say it, I say, that sounds like what I'm saying, I'm sorry.
It's better
So,
to
yeah.
say, I did not intend to do that.
Can you repeat that again?
It's better to say something like, I did not intend to do that, or I did not intend to say that, or I regret having said that. Because when you say, I am sorry, you are making a declaration about yourself. Think about this. How many times have we said that white men apologize for nothing? How many times have we said that? How many times have you heard a white man say, I'm sorry? And I'm not talking about individualists. I'm talking about on a grand scale. How many times have you heard a white man say, I'm sorry? But we are always saying we are sorry. Sorry for what? Sorry for what? when we say I'm sorry, it has to mean, it has a twofold meaning, if not more. One is you're saying that you're a sorry person. And number two is that you're apologizing for the state that you're in when you are not responsible for the state that you're in. It's orchestrated. The state that you're in was orchestrated. And this essay thing I wrote, I kind of sort of went down the road with that, showing us how we were placed in this state while at the same time being taught to blame ourselves for the state that we're in. While we were being while a status of the Neanderthal was being waved in our face, like the stick in the carrot. This idea of prestige being achieved, when what we were actually saying is that being like the Neanderthal mind is prestige within itself, without even realizing that. So there are, and you say, well, there is so much to learn. It's so difficult for us to attain. Well, where we are now was difficult for us to attain until we got here. Our desires are very, very powerful. And if you have a desire to change the way you speak, if you have a desire to speak in such a manner that not only frees you but frees others, then you will achieve that. But it comes with a price, and nothing that's valuable is given to you freely. Everything comes with a price. The price that we are paying for what we seek, guess what that price is? Slavery. We think that we're paying a price with our lives. No, freedom is not a price that's paid for freedom. Slavery, giving it up, is not giving up your life, is giving up your sense of servitude, is giving up your sense of being less than, is giving up your sense of trying to be accepted by someone who you will never be accepted by. We get all of these degrees and we fill ourselves with all of this education only to find out that it is indoctrination and not education. Even in that, we've been duped. And we get all of these pieces of paper that is supposed to give us better lives, when in essence, it is saying that these papers give us opportunity to live the American dream, which is saying that it gives us the opportunity to be like white folks, when it really doesn't. It's the trick of the stick and the carrot. It's like the greyhound dog race. The rabbit, he never catches the rabbit. And no matter how many degrees you get, you never, ever will be accepted in this society. It was never constructed for you, and you will never experience it. And you should be glad, because of the arrogant, barbaric attitude that you have to embrace in order for you to have any sense of success. You ought to be glad that you cannot catch that rabbit. We have a lot to atone for, but at the same time, we have a lot to embrace for ourselves. And the atonement of which I speak is when we know better, we do better. And if you don't do better, when you know better, then that is something that you have to atone for, because now you have become a part of the problem, as opposed to being the solution to the problem. Are you with me so far?
Yes, I am.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. So,
Pastor, may I add something to Angela's question?
yes.
Several years ago, I taught a lesson that said, I am are two of the most powerful words that you will ever speak, because whatever you put behind those words, you become. And I think sometimes we forget that. And so when you just stop and think about I am, the power of I am that I am, whatever you put behind that, you're going to become that. And even if you are having a day where you are feeling frustrated, angry, tired, whatever you would put behind I am, the ancestors have taught me to do something that I know had to come from them, because it just started happening with me. Whenever I am having a moment like that, instead of voicing anything, I find myself saying to myself out loud, I give myself grace. And I'm messing up, or I feel like I'm not accomplishing anything, or just not, I'm off kilter that day. I stop and say, I give myself grace. That puts everything back in alignment for me. And then I can move forward without the frustration, the anger, the sick and tired, all the things that we have taught ourselves to say whenever we're frustrated. So I just wanted to share that. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I give myself grace changes your vibration. It causes you to vibrate at a higher frequency. And I'm glad you brought that up, because it's a part of something else that I was shown. And that is the reason it is so difficult for people to embrace or understand what we are teaching is because you have to have a desire for it, and it has to be genuine. And you have to have a desire to live it or to incorporate it in your life. Because we have been vibrating at a lower frequency for so long until it has become comfortable to us. Christianity vibrates at a frequency that is so low, it creates a nature of a sense of violence in us. And not necessarily physical violence, but a violent response to an inner challenge to what Christianity teaches. A internal violent response or anger to anything that challenges Christianity. If you are all in terms of all have embraced this with the depth of your soul, you have no reason to be defensive or angry or uncomfortable when it's challenged. It doesn't bother me when what we are teaching is challenged. I see it as an opportunity for me to explain and open up to those who are challenging it a truth that they have never experienced. Yet Christianity has taught us to be defensive, defend Jesus, defend what you believe. If you have to defend what you believe, that's a problem, as opposed to living and expressing what you believe. If people who come to you are relegated to being less than by virtue of saying, when you say I'm blessed and highly favored in the Lord, you are telling someone else that they are less than who you are. When you make statements like, you didn't know that, and what you're saying is that you're telling someone they're less than, and the heck of it is this: you didn't know it either, because when you know who you are and you understand the ramifications of spirituality, you don't approach people like that. You don't think harshly of people who raise questions about what you say. Matter of fact, you invite those questions. So in order for us to vibrate at a frequency that is in tune with that of the universe, that of our Creator, we have to be open to being questioned about what we believe and not be fearful of what's going to come out of your mouth, because when you vibrate at a higher frequency, you are vibrating at the frequency of the Akashic consciousness, and everything that you that comes out of your mouth has come through the ancestors via the Akashic consciousness. Be comfortable with that. Now, if there are no questions or comments about that, I want to talk for a moment about the reason that we have not experienced the manifestation that we have been searching for. Questions or comments? The reason we have not, a reason among other reasons that we have not experienced the manifestation that we have been searching for, is because we have not understood manifestations and how things manifest. We have looked at manifestation as being something that we are going to wake up one day and see it. We don't understand what today means. Today is actually conceptual and reality. There is today, as in this environment that we live in, and the day that exists in the environment that we live in is governed by time. It is bound by time. There being a today that allows for functionality in the physical realm, there also is something called today in the spiritual realm. And the today in the spiritual realm is not a concept. It is a reality. Regardless of where you go, today consists of night and day. The hours of night and the hours of day may vary, meaning that the hours of night and the hours of daylight may vary, but they still exist. So the question I suppose you would be asking is, what is this thing called today in a spiritual sense? The today in the spirituality is not bound by time. One of the things that really was abusive to our remembrance of self is that we were taught that there is a past, a present, and a future. And we've always talked about the now. However, our applying the now has come to us, or we've spoken about it without much explanation of it and what it looks like. When we talk about the past, the present, and the future, we are not talking about spiritual things at all. We are talking about an element or elements that are governed by time. When we talk about now, we are talking about the spiritual today. And the spiritual today exists at all times. And our seeking manifestation has been based upon what we see as today, based upon the chaos in this environment, what's happening today. Well, when we begin to understand the significance of the spiritual today, it is then that we will be able to manifest, not to see a manifestation, but to manifest the change that we are looking for. So what is this spiritual today when we talk about today consisting of night and day, daylight? Well, the night of the spiritual today is wisdom, and the light of the spiritual day is enlightenment of the wisdom that is called night or is called darkness. Manifestation is not bound by time. Manifestation has been delayed by us because of our speech, our belief, and our lack of knowledge of self. Because of our lack of knowledge of understanding the parameters of today in a spiritual way. There is no calendar that we can use to count the todays spiritually. We count today on the calendar for the purpose of functioning in an orderly manner in the physical world. That is the reason our ancestors brought into existence a calendar in order to govern time and space in this physical realm. There is no such thing as time and space in the spiritual. It's only spiritual now. So when we talk about a manifestation, we must understand when we're talking about manifesting now. So, for an example, I'm saying this, and I mean every bit of it. Change is now. It is not something that we're waiting to be manifested. Because as long as we wait for something to be manifested, we have coupled it to this element of time. However, when we understand that we are the now and that we are today, and today is already the manifestation rather of balance is already existing in the now. It is present. We're not looking forward. There are so many things that are present spiritually that we don't see with our eyes. If we are waiting for manifestation to appear to our eyes, then we will be waiting for manifestation forever. Manifestation is not something that you wait for. Manifestation is something that you bring about by the way you think, by the way you process, by the way you embrace the realness of you. When we talk about this whole thing about creation, we are not talking about the number of days of creation. We are talking about the enlightenment of creation. We are talking about the wisdom of creation. We are not talking about the days as we live them in our bodies. Everything that is created instantly. And everything that is manifested instantly. What we see with our eyes is the chaos. That chaos ends when we understand the difference between the spiritual now, the spiritual today, and the today that is bound by time. We must throw off the yoke of the past, the present, and the future, the yoke that has been weighty on us. It weighed on us to the extent that it kept us bound to this element of time and physicality, as opposed to us seeing that past, present, and future is only for physicality, that today in the spiritual is always now. So now is the manifestation of the deliverance from the bondage that we have endured in this physical world. We have never, ever been in bondage spiritually. We have been in a state of forgetfulness about who we are spiritually, but we have never been spiritually in bondage. So having not been been in bondage spiritually means that we have always been free spiritually. And right now, this physical today exists for our bodies, but this spiritual today allows our eye to recognize what is already present. And we are not waiting for anything. We are embracing everything. All of the chaos that's taking place, we are embracing it because the balance is already here, always have been. It is not about a manifestation as much as it is about a revelation to those who don't know who they are. And that revelation comes to them when we become that revelation of peace and harmony, when we become what they are searching for. If we are searching for what they are searching for, then do we really know who we are? If we are searching for what they are searching for, are we really God? Because us being God waits for nothing. Everything is now when we embrace the reality of who we are. We are not physical beings. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. And we cannot allow this physical experience that we are having to be our guiding force. The only reason that we, the gods in this earth, brought time into existence, it was for those who came from our womb. It is for those who came into this earth through us. Time has never been a thing to govern us or to be a guiding force to us. Time and calendar dates are for those who live in this physical realm. And we brought them into existence so that they could govern their movements in this earth. And we are the example, the physical example of how those movements are measured. Yet, we must remove ourselves from the thoughts of being physical beings. You cannot be a physical being and be God at the same time. We are today, spiritually now. We are the righteousness. We are the balance. We are the peace. Everything else is a distraction. We have been living in a chaotic dream, a state of dreaming that said that we were in bondage, that said that we were enslaved. It is time for us to wake up completely and see the reality of who we are and embrace that reality with everything about us, reminding ourselves today is today, and today is now, and I am today. I am now. I am the manifestation of everything that our subjects are searching for, that those who we created are searching for. I am that. And then we will begin to recognize with our eyes the things that we already see with our eye. Meaning that when we have put things in the macro, we have not seen them with our eyes as they manifested. We experienced them within before we could see the physical manifestation of them. And it is no different with this thing called balance, peace, and harmony. We are today. And I reiterate this over and over and over because I want you to hear this consistently and continuously. We are today. We are the now. We are everything that others are searching for when they are searching for peace, harmony, and balance. We are the love and kindness. We are not the essence of it. We are it. We are not a part of it. We are it. We are everything that is balanced for humanity because we are responsible for and to humanity. And as being responsible for and to humanity, it means that we are truly the gods of humanity. We are divine, and when we realize and when we truly embrace that divinity does not have a past, a present, or a future. The divinity only has the now. It is right here now. It has nothing to do with the breakup of time, or the breakup of calendar days in terms of past, present, and future. Everything that we have endured happened now. It is the dream state that has caused us to think the way that we have been taught to think. No one can conquer God. We have never been conquered. We have convinced ourselves that we were conquered. We have convinced ourselves that we are no different than any other human. Yet at the same time, we recognize that we are the only melanated people in this earth. We are the black melanated people in this earth. We are the life of the earth. We are the birth of everything that exists. We are everything that is spiritual, and we brought into existence everything that is material. And our dream state has caused us to lose sight of that. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up completely. Ancestors are shaking us to awaken us to the reality of our essence. Ancestors are screaming in our spiritual ears, wake up. Wake up. Your physical mind is asleep. Wake up to the sound of your soul. Hear the speech of your soul. Hear the words of the ancestors. I have no lack. I am. I am because you were. And you were gods in this earth, and I am in this earth, and I am who you are and who you were. Wake up. We are the soul of the universe. We are the Akashic consciousness in these bodies. We are in bodies. We are embodied, but we are not the body itself. Wake up. Wake up and close your eyes so you can see self, so you can see who you are. Close your eyes so you can see that what you seek is already manifested. We are the drink offering that has been poured out for the benefit of everything that we brought into existence. We are the smell of the frankincense. We are the frankincense. We are everything that humanity is looking for. When the scripture talks about the sweet smell of the frankincense, when it talks about the burning of the candles, the burning of the herbs, the burning of the sacrifices, being a sweet aroma, it means that the burning of all of those things that has separated humanity from its creator, from its God. When those things are sacrificed, when those things are burned, it becomes a sweet odor to us. We smell it in a spiritual way. We embrace it spiritually. The tare has been gathered. It's gathered already. And the match has been struck. And the fire, the flames are licking the skies, waiting for us to see that we are the sky that is searching for, that we are the now that it is. We are not the water that douses the flame, that burns the mindset of barbarians. We are the flame that purifies a mindset that has contaminated who we are. We are those flames. We are the waters of creation, the waters of life, the waters of peace. That's who we are. We are manifestation itself. Today, we are wisdom, we are enlightenment, and the now is all that exists for us. There is no resurrection in terms of a cross. That the resurrection is simply an awakening from this dream state that has brought to us so many nightmares in different forms until we have embraced them as a reality when they really aren't. So my sisters, my brothers, my fellow comrades on this journey, my fellow gods in this earth, I say to you, wake up from your humanness and embrace your spiritual being, your spiritual life. Wake up and see yourself. Questions, comments? If not, I'm done.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe.
Okay.
Ashe.
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 I say,
Wake up,
Ashe.
wake up, wake up. Close your eyes and wake up. I am who I am. I am what I am. I am everything that earth is searching for. This purification has shown us that our divine desires have been manifested. We just did not realize how different the earthly today is from the spiritual today. This is not some wisdom that came out of the mindset of a Neanderthal. This is the wisdom of a beginning with the understanding that beginning has never been a starting point. Spiritual beginning is a continuation of the desires of the creator of everything that exists. It has never been a starting point. We have never had a starting point, but we have experienced beginning. Beginning being a continuation. It's a continuation of who we are spiritually. The bodies, physical bodies, are a continuation of our essence. It is a condensed reality of who we are. And that is the reason that we have so much water holding this clay together, because water is spiritual essence. It is congealed spirit. And that is the reason you can take 2 molecules of oxygen and one of hydrogen, and you still can't make water, because you cannot create spirit. Spirit just is, always has been, always will be. And water that holds this clay together cannot be created. It is ever, always have been. Embrace it. And when you embrace it, you embrace you. Ashe. These are the words that I have been given to deliver to you. Because I am God. Who are you? You have to embrace for you. I was born to do this. I was brought into this world to understand the house of Pharaoh. I was given a mantle even before I knew what a mantle is. I was built for this. You were built for this. But are you being what you were built for? I know beyond the shadow of any doubt that deliverance is already present. And the reason I know it's present is because I am here. Can you say the same about your presence? But you are here. You are the now. That's what you must see in you in order for earth can realize, can embrace what it has been searching for. We cried for winter, and there are those of you who are crying because of it. This is the winter of our lives, meaning that this is the space of wisdom that we are experiencing. And this space of wisdom that we are experiencing will surely manifest truth, which actually is the spring and the summer of our existence in this earth. We are who we are. For all of my life, I have searched for me and didn't know I was searching for me. I searched for me through history for as long as I can remember. I searched for me and thought I had found me when I was resistant to the powers that be from a child, from less than 10 years old. I have been in search of me, and I thought I had found me when I found the likes of Russ Adams, John Henry Clark, when I found the likes of those historians who guided me. But what I have realized is that they gave me a sense and understanding of the physical being of this earth, the physicality in this earth, and the journey of that physicality. The ancestors are the ones who helped me find me, truly me. And they have given us, they have given me, they have given all of us something. And that is the sight of self, the reality of spirituality, the guidance out of this minefield of lies into the glorious minds of truth. We don't have to travel through minefields anymore. We don't have to live in the wilderness. We don't have to die in the wilderness. We are in a consciousness that was promised to us, in awareness that was promised to us. And that promised consciousness is an awareness of who we are. Here we are, having left the house of Pharaoh and gone through the wilderness of Christianity, and now into the land of promise, a consciousness that the world does not understand, a consciousness that many of us don't, a consciousness that cannot be found on the internet. Knowing things that resonate with you, that you can search all you want to, you will not find the words that we speak, because they are words from a Akashic consciousness and not from the internet. Search all you want. Seek all you want. You will not be the teacher that you want to be unless the ancestors have laid hands on you and brought you forth to do what teachers do. Teachers carry burdens. Teachers lose sleep at night. Teachers suffer with relationships. Teachers are disrespected because they say things that's not popular. It looked glamorous from the outside because you're thinking about a teacher academically. But when you cry out and say, how can I understand unless I have some man teach me? You're saying that I am on a journey to understand the spiritual essence of who I am. And I cannot get that from a book. Neither can I get it from this thing called ChatGPT. It comes from the Akashic consciousness. Embrace it. Stop second guessing who you are. Stop second guessing those who teach you. Embrace it for what it is. It is spiritual truth. Nothing more, nothing less. And truth never fades away. Truth never have to rise again. Truth can never be crushed to the ground. Truth always breathes, always exists. Truth is the ultimate power that brings us the knowledge of self, which allows us to bring our created beings, our humans, to a place of peace and harmony. I am in this space now. I intend to stay in this space of now. If you have any questions about what has been said, I'm here to answer them. I know about time. This is a day, both physically and spiritually, that I am not concerned with time. I am concerned with you and where you are in your state of awareness. Are you asleep? Are you still dreaming? Be well. Embrace your divinity. I'm done.
Astrology, I do have a question.
Yes.
This is based on what we been taught dealing with Jesus. We know that we've been taught that Jesus is we're not talking about Jesus the man, but the consciousness of Jesus that's within us. Okay, but when it says the Son of Man shall suffer, and so shall we, or something like that. That bothers me because at one time we did believe with Jesus. We don't believe we know that Jesus, the man, doesn't exist. But I guess I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. I'm not guessing. I'm seeing it from the true side, because Jesus. I'm just going to use Jesus, but Jesus didn't suffer. Jesus was something that was created. So when we think about suffering, okay, well, Jesus didn't suffer, so because he didn't exist. I'm trying to explain what I.
I understand what you're asking. I really do.
Okay.
Suffering.
Yeah.
When we talk about Jesus and suffering, what we are talking about is, in order for you to be the deliverer that you were created to be, you're going to suffer hardship. And your pain is not coming only from the suffering that you have endured your whole life, but the suffering is coming from your struggle to walk away from the bondage of religion. You suffer heartache. It feels lonely. You experience guilt. But in order for you to deliver the humans of creation, that suffering must take place, because the cloak of religion that has grown to be such a part of us until we can't imagine being separate from it is like a death, a slow death that we are experiencing. But yet, this death must take place in order for the truth to be resurrected. And if the deliverer is not willing to suffer, then the resurrection of truth with that deliverer will not take place, which means that that would-be deliverer will never really grasp who it is and what its purpose is in the earth. Is that the response, a response to your question?
Yes, it is. It's clear, because I was looking at it as you being pound and pound. You think that this is right here, like some things are just supposed to, okay, this is just a part of my life. But when you express it as walking away from Christianity, walking away, because there is a pain when you walking away from things that no longer, it's not true. I'm just going to say that's not truth. So yeah, it does bring clarity. Thank you.
Thank you. Your explanation just now helped me to see that you really saw what I was communicating to you. The greatest hurdle for us is the European God that was created for us. And that European God is that white Jesus that hangs in many churches but lives in your mind and controls your thoughts. That's a difficult hurdle to clear. While at the same time, Catholicism, the religion that brought all other religions into existence, goes into a secret place and seeks power and direction from an African woman who is in a painting in the secluded space that's open to the Pope. This African femininity is clearly understood by the purveyors of religion and rejected by those who were created to be truth in the earth. Why would the Pope bow to an image, a symbol of a Babylonian femininity? It's simply because they know what the truth is, and they have attempted to usurp the power to keep us in submission, but we have reclaimed it. Help me, please, to cease saying Africa, because General Africanus was a European who was a human trafficker, a sex trafficker. We are not Africans. We are Babylonians. We cannot allow them to name us, because a name depicts character. And our characteristics are not the characteristics of a Neanderthal. We are Babylonians. And the reason that we are Babylonians and must always hold on to that, because Babylon is life. Its total environment is life. And that is the reason that the children of the sun attributed the character of Babylon to all of the expanse of this earth. Meaning that the life, the spiritual life in this environment of earth is who we are. We are that source of life. We are not limited to a Neanderthal called Africanus. We are without limit because of the nature of who we are. We gave them language and they corrupted it. We must cleanse it on behalf of our creation, on behalf of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you. Great energy. Thank you. Any other questions, y'all? Okay. Good meditation. Be careful out there. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Thank you.
What you say?
Take care, family.
Thank you.
Oh, I thought Richard was saying something, Audrey.
California today. Hello.
I think we lost him.